So now I'm going to show you how to write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form from a graph. The basics that you need to know before we even start this is that the y-intercept is where our line touches the y-axis. So in this case it is right here. They've actually put a dot for us. But so again, it's where the line that we are writing an equation for touches the y-axis. So right here at 3. Okay, that would be our y-intercept. Okay, this is a standard equation for slope-intercept form. And basically all we're going to have to do is take this equation and put the slope in for m, because m is the slope. And we are going to change out the y-intercept where b is. So let me walk you through one. And also, if you need any further assistance on finding slope, watch my video on how to find slope of a line. Okay, so we already found the y-intercept, so what I'm going to do, the y-intercept is 3, so I'm going to go ahead and put this in. So b is 3, so I'm just filling in the information, and then we'll go back in and substitute it at the end. Alright, the slope, we need the 2 points, 2 coordinates. I already have one here. I have another one here. They're all over the place. Okay, so I just need to, and I'm going to count by ones because that's what my units are doing. I go down 1, over 1. So down 1, over 1. Anytime we go down, that's a negative. Anytime to the right, that's always positive. And negative 1 divided by 1, if we simplify, is negative 1. So I'll go ahead and put this information. So we know m is negative 1. So in place of m, I'm simply going to write negative 1. So I'm going to write it above it real quick. Okay. And in place of b, we're going to put a 3. So at the bottom here, I'm going to go ahead and write this so it's a little, well, looks a little better. Well, in place of m, instead of having an m, we're going to have a negative 1. Now we didn't get rid of the x, so it's still going to be there. And it is plus 3 because 3 is b. Now in this case, you may see it like this, but you also probably would need it simplified a little bit. They write it where you don't need negative 1x. You just have a negative x, because negative 1 times x would be negative x. And plus 3. And that's how you do that one. Here, before I even get started, if you've seen some of my other videos, you'll know that I like to just ask, hey, is this positive or negative, just to give us some idea. Okay, this is a positive slope. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and find slope first this time. It doesn't matter which way I do it. Okay, I need to find that perfect coordinate. Well, here's one of them. That's my y-intercept, because, well, as we said, the line hits our y-axis at that point, so let's go ahead and put that in there. That is b, negative 4. And I'm just looking for another perfect coordinate. That one's a little off, a little off, a little off. Oh, here's another one. Alright, so let's go ahead and find my slope. Again, we're counting by 1, so I can just count by 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up 5 over 2, which means 5 over 2. And I'll go ahead and do this one like I did the last one. 5 over 2 will take the place of m, and a negative 4 will take the place of b. So let me go ahead and write it where it's a little nicer. 5 over 2 x. And instead of writing plus a negative 4, I'm going to write a minus 4, which is the same thing. So again, adding negative 4 is the same as subtracting 4, so this is the way that you would see a final answer. If you want to take a moment and pause and see if you can answer this one on your own. And when you come back, I'll have the answer for you. Alright, this one was actually pretty tricky. So if you got this right, great for you. Alright, I actually marked all 3 coordinates that are here because these tend to be difficult for people to find because they're kind of at the edge of where we're at. But here was an exact coordinate that I could use. Here at the origin, which is also our y-intercept, and down here at the very bottom. People tend to miss these because they're at the edges. So, and again, it doesn't matter. I can use any 2 of these. I'm just going to go from here. I've already put in the y-intercept. The y-intercept this time is 0. It's going through the origin, or it's going through the y-axis at 0. And my slope, if I move from left to right, I always have to move up or down first. In this case, I'm going to move down, down 5, over 3, because we were counting by ones, just because our graph did. And this time, instead of writing plus 0, because that's the 0 takes the place of b, I just didn't write it at all. You don't need it. Adding 0 to something doesn't make it any different, so I just don't need to have it. So all that's written here is the slope, and that means if there's no y-intercept, that means the y-intercept is 0. And our last one, this is our line right here. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, this is the line that we're graphing. This is our x-axis here. Well, there are tons of points on here, but basically, all over the place. But as you can see, there is no going up or down. You would only move to the right, which means it's 0. And anytime you have a rise of 0, it's going to be 0 divided by a number, and that means your slope is 0. So I'm going to put in a 0 here. And our y-intercept, sorry, this shouldn't be an x, that should be a b. b equals, because that's what we're filling in, okay, is -1. Okay, there's no -1 written here, but I see that this is 0, our y-intercept, our y-axis. Here, there's 0, there's -2. In the middle, one line would be -1. So my y-intercept is -1. So in this case, I have y equals 0x minus 1. Now technically the math here, 0 times a number, any number next to a variable is multiplication. So 0 times a number is 0. So I don't really need to have that there this time, because and 0 minus 1 is -1. So I just write y equals -1. So in a case like this, when you have a line going like this, there is no slope, and all you have to really write is what is the y-intercept. So y equals -1.